How's it going? I'm Rick Schaffer, and I'm here to teach you how to throw a Frisbee. I'm sure as an adult you were never really quite told how to throw a Frisbee correctly, and you're looking for new ways to get out there with your family. Well, Frisbee is the best way to do it. It really prevents injuries, it's a great way to get exercise, and it's fun to do. When throwing a Frisbee, you have to remember three things. The first is that you always need to get rotation on the disc. The more rotation you get, the better your throws will be. The better your throws are, the more fun you have. Also, it'll stay in the air longer, and it'll be able to withstand wind. The second thing is that you have to point to your target. Whether it be a backhand, or a flick, or a hammer, all of which I will teach you about, you need to be able to point to your target, and generally the Frisbee will go in their direction. The last thing is really the only safety rule, and that is to make eye contact with your target. If you don't make eye contact with your target, there's a good chance that he's going to get hit by the disc, and you don't want that. The materials you will need are simple: a casual outfit, a Frisbee, and a partner to throw to. We'll start by learning the easiest and the most common throw, the backhand. Now, the way you grip the backhand is very easy. You put all of your fingers on the bottom of the Frisbee and your thumb on top. The thumb is always on top of the Frisbee. So you grab it with all four fingers, and your pointy finger is actually going to be the one that is creating all the snap. It's the one that you're going to eventually flick with. So the way you stand, pretty simple. You stand sideways to your partner so that the front foot is also your dominant hand, and you throw it across your body, making sure the Frisbee is level to the ground, and then you point to your target in the follow-through. So it should look something like this. Okay? Now, very important to get wrist snap on the backhand. Remember, we always want to get rotation, so wrist snap is very, very important. Next, we will learn the most difficult throw, the forehand or flick. The way you grip a forehand is you make a gun with your hand, you put the two fingers that make the barrel of the gun on the inside of the Frisbee, and you put your thumb on top of the Frisbee, as we always do. Now, you hold it and throw it completely different. You want to hold it out here so that you can throw it flat to the ground, like so. You keep your feet parallel to your partner and facing him straight away, and you just throw it like so. Now, it's going to be really hard for you at first to not want to throw with all of your arm. You can't do that. You have to use your wrist so that you can get a lot of rotation on the Frisbee. It may seem at first that this throw is very inaccurate and doesn't really do much, but with a little bit of practice, you can throw it over 70 yards with perfect accuracy. If you are having trouble with throwing the forehand, one way to really help yourself out is to hold on to your elbow like so, and only throw with just your wrist at shorter targets. This may seem like it won't go anywhere, but if you really practice it this way, you can actually throw it over 20 to 30 yards. The last throw that you will be learning is the hammer. The hammer is pretty cool, not very useful, but pretty cool. So the way you want to throw it is kind of like a baseball, in that you're going to throw it over the top like so. Now the difference is you're going to be holding it like a flick, where you're making the gun, fingers on the inside, thumb on the top, and then you're going to throw it with wrist flick so that the Frisbee is actually above your head, and that when it comes down, it lands flat on its back. So it'll curve up in the air and then come down, and then you'll catch it flat on its back. So now that you've learned all three throws, it's time to talk about something that may be a little bit hindering to your process, and that's called wind. Wind is a huge problem when it comes to throwing a Frisbee. If you want to combat wind, you want to throw it lower to the ground and with more rotation. You can do this by throwing it really, really low down by your feet, or you could throw it inside out so that the Frisbee is either angled like this for a backhand or like this for a forehand. Throwing a hammer in the wind is a nightmare, so I do not recommend trying to do that on your first try. Now that you've learned all of the new throws and how to throw in the wind, it's time for you to get outside and try it yourself. You may get frustrated at first, but I encourage you to stick with it and get outside with your family. Thank you.